The O'Reilly Factor, the #1 cable news show for 15 years and counting.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Eric Bowling in for Bill O'Reilly. And in the Unresolved Problems segment tonight, is Hillary Clinton snatching defeat from the jaws of victory? Her frontrunner status seems to be dissolving by the day, and reports are that Mrs. Clinton's top donors are getting antsy.
Well, with reports that Clinton's top donors have now complained to her campaign about its grassroots efforts. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders are indeed facing off here in Nevada, a state she needs to win after her bruising defeat to Sanders in New Hampshire.
So what's really going on inside the Clinton campaign? Well, let's find out from the guy who is inside the Clinton campaign. He's traveling with Hillary Clinton, Ed Henry from Las Vegas. Ed, is her, just yes or no, head about to explode?
It's getting closer. I mean, I do think there's real nervousness from the advisors that I talk to. It's not a full freak-out mode or anything like that, while I'm sure critics would like to see that. But I have to tell you, if she loses Nevada and then South Carolina doesn't go as well as expected, as we've seen in some of these early states, they will be in full freak-out mode. Here's the bottom line. There is a pattern here. She had a double-digit lead in Iowa. Then it became a virtual tie. A double-digit lead in New Hampshire that became a mammoth defeat where Bernie Sanders beat her by double digits, a drubbing. And now here in Nevada, just a month ago, there was a double-digit lead again for Hillary Clinton. It is now a dead heat. She's up by 1 point, according to a CNN poll. So look, are they getting nervous? Yes.
All right, they're getting nervous, but Ed, between us, you know the Superdelegate situation. All the things you said are true, yet she is walloping him in the delegates because of the Superdelegate, which they don't do on the GOP side to the extent that they do in the Dems.
Right.
So even if she does fall in say, Nevada or doesn't do as well as expected in South Carolina, she's still doing pretty well, though.
She is still doing well. What I would point out, though, is losing Nevada would be about more momentum going to Bernie Sanders, #1. #2, superdelegates are important. They are basically party bosses, officials, members of Congress who have their own vote. And so she can pad her numbers. But in the long run, it's only about 10 or 15% of the total you need to win. Yeah. So, yes, superdelegates can help her. You're right. But it's not going to put her over the top. And the final point I'd make is, in terms of momentum, I mean, look, we keep hearing about a Clinton firewall. 2 nights ago in Atlanta at Morehouse College, historically black college, Bernie Sanders had 5,000 people. I've been all around the country with Hillary Clinton, as you say.
Let's point out the firewall being the African-American vote starting in the South, starting in South Carolina, moving south. Look, I'm scratching my head why the Sanders campaign doesn't just start hitting her on, #1, the unfairness of the superdelegate situation, #1, and #2, this Goldman Sachs transcript. I would be hounding them for the transcripts of everything she's ever said at a Goldman Sachs speech. She has them. They're hiding somewhere. If she really wants to be transparent, get them out there.
Yeah, you know, you're certainly right that this is an issue for Hillary Clinton. She talks a good game about Wall Street reform and then got paid all this big money, Goldman Sachs and other Wall Street firms, to give big speeches, and she won't release the transcripts. You're right, that's an issue. It's come up in some of the debates in the forums. There's another one that will, issue that is in there with the emails and with the Clinton Foundation. But the bottom line is, when I talk to senior people in the Sanders camp, they say, look, you've got Eric Bowling talking about it. You've got all these influential people around the country talking about it. If Bernie Sanders does, then it becomes more political, and it doesn't allow him to focus on the economy where he's beating Hillary.
This firewall, the African-American firewall, seems to be coming down, at least to a certain extent. Take a listen, Ed. Just sit with us for a second. Listen to Killer Mike on Bernie Sanders' behalf.
I talked to Jane Elliott a few weeks ago, and Jane said, Michael, a uterus doesn't qualify you to be president of the United States. You have to have policy that's reflective of social justice. Paying women a fair wage is social justice. Making sure that minorities have jobs is social justice. Ending a drug war is social justice.
Now, some harsh words, but I don't know, it seems to be resonating a bit.
Well, yes, and there was another African-American former state lawmaker who was at that same rally who, by the way, said, there is no firewall. You do not own our vote. She was talking about the African-American vote to Hillary Clinton. You don't own our vote. You have to earn our vote. So rapper Killer Mike is making a fair point there. And remember, Bernie Sanders beat Hillary Clinton among women in New Hampshire. So that whole question about whether just being a woman will help her, that's obviously some question about that. But final point, On the other hand, let's point out that Killer Mike told us that he endorsed Bernie Sanders after, quote, reading his tweets and smoking a joint. So throw that in there as well.
Yeah, let's leave it right there. Ed, thank you very much.